All right. All right. So are we ready to go?
Sure.
All right. Fantastic. Well, here we are, folks. Episode 4. Wow. You're, you don't even, I don't even want to ask how many days till Toddstock. Because there's not many.
Oh, God. Don't do it. I'll faint. But I'm going to go close the door. I don't think it's really clear, but I'll try.
All right.
I'm not blocking you, don't worry. Here, I'll turn my office is so messy, but I'll turn it like a little this way to get rid of that glare.
Well, the only one that gets to see us is us, so no worries there.
Okay.
So I
Oh, good. I forgot. Podcast. Duh.
Yeah, podcast. Just it's fun. A lot of people, we get a lot of great feedback on the podcast. So, do you want me to be really? Should we start this episode with me being really frank and kind of surprised? Let's do it.
Yeah.
So last episode we had some information. You mentioned about the documentary, and I'm at the end. I'm going, wow, this is so great. Everybody's going to be all excited about the documentary, and I didn't hear a word. Is it because it was at the end of the podcast, you think, that nobody listened?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I'll tell a quick version of the story we talked about in case people didn't hear it at the end. But yeah, one of my high school buddies ended up being a really hotshot literary agent and helping to take some of his writers into the world of television and film. So working with some great people, and I just happened to mention to him that I wanted to get a documentary done of Todd's life before we're gone and somebody else can make stuff up. So while he's on the planet, so he can say, that happened, yes, that never happened, no. And so Chip, my friend, helped me find some people, and they're going to fly out to document Toddstock. They'll only be here for 3 days, but they'll get the general idea of Toddstock, and then it's another opportunity to interview Todd.
Yeah, I think it's great. In fact, there's a documentary that they're doing right now I think it's on HBO. I was just reading about it because they had a thing on NPR about Mary Tyler Moore. And of course, Mary Tyler Moore has passed away. And it was funny. I was thinking what you had said to me about how, like, she doesn't really have any chance to refute any of the stuff that's in there. But you always hope that the person that's doing your documentary at least loves you on some level.
Right, exactly.
But
so I guess, Tom, if it's all right, I would also like to tell listeners that at Toddstock, they would like to hear stories from fans of how Todd has impacted their life. And I know a couple people that have great stories, things that may have changed their life or inspired them to do things. So there will be a place at Toddstock for the film crew to talk to them. And if they would like to, email the TS75 info@gmail.com. If you're a Toddstock member, then it would be great to contact us and let us know that you may have a story you'd like to tell.
Yeah.
To the docufilm people.
I got a quick one since I'm not going to be at Toddstock if you want to hear it.
Yeah, what?
So my daughter-in-law, she was diagnosed with brain cancer 4 years ago, and it was a very, very aggressive form, glioblastoma. And they gave her 18 months to live, and we were all kind of really stressed out for obvious reasons.
Oh, man.
And they didn't know if the tumor had grown quickly or if it had grown slowly. So she was going to get her first post-surgical brain scan. And my son, Tom, who you've met on multiple occasions, he's come to Todd shows with me for years. I was going to see Todd at a show in Atlanta. And he said, we're getting our first scan tomorrow. He said, I need just one victory. And that was the song that he was thinking. And so that night I looked at the set list, and on the set list, it wasn't there. But he still played it. And I streamed the whole thing to Todd.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. But now I shared that story with Todd, and I think he didn't know how to take it. So I think when it comes to those types of stories, he gets a little bit like, man, I don't know what to say. But that was a beautiful moment. But the music really has touched our lives. And that song in particular, I mean, it's just, when you're going through something rough, sometimes you just need that one little thing. The other song, Mountaintop, which came later, doesn't have as much of an impact, but I mean, thematically kind of the same, like that just one victory. But yeah, that was I mean, I'm getting a little weepy just thinking about it because I flipped the phone on and I
Yeah,
live streamed it, and it was like, wow, and Tom, sure enough, we got a clean scan the next day. Crazy. And 4 years later, she gets them every 3 months, and she's still doing well. She's still with us. So we've had more than just one victory. We've had multiple victories.
Multiple victories.
Multiple victories. So yeah. So thanks for letting me in. Thanks for indulging me on that one. It's it's beautiful. It's beautiful
cool.
thing. There's a lot, but man, there's a lot of stories like that. I love fan gatherings where we can just again share just the. I mean, music is. I don't know, music, whether it's Todd or somebody else, but I mean, all of us that are part of the Todd fan community, it really is about the songs and how they touch us.
Yeah. Yeah. When Belafonte died, I went because that was the first music I ever remember hearing. Huge Belafonte fan. So I just all by myself in my office, I went back and listened to some of those first records I listened to, and oh my gosh, so beautiful. Just the voice and the phrasing. Oh.
Yeah, and how like I think my dad was really into like Fats Waller and Linda Ronstadt. So when I hear those artists, I really love. It brings me back, and especially as years pass, where you lose somebody, it becomes more of a pleasant memory. Like, oh man, I really love this music, and I really loved that person and the impact on my life. So, but anyhow,
yeah.
So the other thing that came up, and it was actually I had about 8 or 9 people reach out to me about the address situation. They were very worried about you giving the address out on a public podcast. So I assume that you've had people ask you as well. So what is the ultimate decision in terms of how to distribute the address in a way that everybody feels safe and secure?
Well, everyone that has paid to come to Toddstock will get an email.
Okay, good.
And so we won't actually say it here.
All right. Well, that's good.
Thank you, everybody, for warning. I always just think it's just Todd's world. Nobody else is going to find out.
Well, honestly, I felt the same way, and I'll tell you why. Because if you Google most celebrities' addresses, you can find them. I mean, and if you really want to find them. But here was the thing that kind of popped into my head, and this may seem weird or not. But like I forgot about the burglary at Mink Hollow, I mean, at some level,
right.
It's kind of scary.
And then we had another odd thing happen. That was very scary for him. I wasn't in their lives then, but we've had 2 weird things here that most people know about. And so protecting is probably a good idea.
Yeah. I don't know what they are, and I'm not even going to ask. So if people know about it, you know about it.
Oh, one's pretty funny. I'll tell you really fast.
All right, we'll hear the funny one.
And lots of people. Okay, Todd and I are in New York City together, and Alex, our Hanai son means it's not your son, but they live with you. They are. He and his girlfriend take care of everything when we're gone. Alex calls and said, hey, are you guys getting a divorce? So I turned to Todd and I said, hey, Alex wants to know if we're getting a divorce. And Todd says, well, not today. So I said, oh, not today. And Alex said, okay, I'll call you back in a little bit. There's a situation. When he called back, there was a woman and there were 2 women, a big, huge moving truck, and some moving guys in our living room. And one of the women told Alex, Todd's been injured. He'll never be able to tour again. I'm moving in to take care of him, and we're here to move all Michelle's things out.
What?
And yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that she became my stalker. And I mean, the police had to help come and show me how to booby trap my house to keep myself safe and stuff. It was wacky.
Oh my gosh.
So for a couple of years, it was very scary.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
She's off island now.
Yeah. Well, I teach special education. So I recently had a stalker too that, was sending some inappropriate messages to my wife and stuff. And we'd get the police involved, and it's just kind of a gross feeling, it's just horrible.
It is. Actually, I could tell everybody how to keep safe because firearms, they're very hard to have in Hawaii. And I just didn't want to have that anyway in the house. So wasp spray, the police showed me how to keep a can of wasp spray by my bed and booby trap our stairs so that I could hear bamboo if anybody came up. And then you have wasp spray that shoots at least 12 feet into their eyes and and blinds and stuns them for enough time to get out.
Wow.
So everyone, wasp spray.
Very good.
Is your new, even better than mace.
See, now I hear the term WASP, I think white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, so I almost wondered if that would work on Catholics as well. You know, there we go. The bad humor, folks.
I think you need holy water.
All right. Well, I'm going to throw one more question at you before we get into the Toddstock questions because, whatever. I was wondering about this. Now, when the book was written, and I know it took a lot of years, and you also did the podcast where you discussed a lot of your personal information. Was there anything in the book that kind of shocked you, or was there anything that maybe you discussed like, man, we shouldn't put this in the book? And even with the podcast, I mean, there was some deeply personal stuff too. I mean, do you guys kind of figure you do what you do?
We do what we do, but he actually was, he gave it to me before it went to the publisher and said, can you tell me if anything's wrong? And if anything, he said, I don't think anything's going to bother you in there, but let me know. And no, nothing in there bothered me. I thought it was really interesting the way he wrote it.
Yeah, no,
and he didn't
sure.
ask questions about the podcast.
Well, I mean, the podcast stuff, I mean, that was a lot of that stuff was really raw. That's what I loved about it. It was just so human. I think a lot of times people think of somebody like you and Todd and put you on this pedestal like you never have to worry about bills. But I mean, or kids, your kids are just going to be fine, all that stuff. But you basically deal with all the same struggles that we all deal with, which is comforting in a way. Not that I want you to struggle, Michele, and I don't think you want me to struggle either, but we all do.
I want us all to like be after.
Yeah. All right, well, let's fire these off. So we got a pretty decent amount of questions, not as many as we've had in the past, but that's okay. But that's because hopefully the information is getting out that people need. One of the ones actually that came back is that this is mainly my fault because we got off on a bit of a bunny trail. Is they were asking if there was a hard end time for Common Grounds as far as when activities stop.
Yeah, I just got a text back from my husband. I mean, not back. He just sent me. The music has to stop at 9, and then we have to leave the site by 10. And Todd's just saying, I think we should demand a meeting with whomever made the 200-person decision so they can explain why Kauai will forever remain in the 19th century. If they're never going to allow an event like ours, they should come out and say so and justify why. Yeah, great. Okay. What time is it on the East Coast? Has he had martinis yet? Oh no, actually, it's sober time for him.
It's
okay.
If he's playing tonight, he should be on stage by now. It's 8:04 p.m. out here.
Oh, he just sent it like 1 minute after.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what he's saying is he wants me to go to the county and try to get it changed, and so I will try. It is a dumb rule. If there are 200 people, we can play music till 10. If there are more than that, we can only play music till 9. I have a feeling it's because of the traffic and the exiting takes longer, but yeah. I'll see if I can reason with the county peeps.
Yeah, well, it's fun. There was a when Todd was touring with Ringo, he actually performed a show out here in a town called Lewiston, New York, and they had a hard curfew of 10 p.m. and it rained, and so the show was delayed. And I remember talking to people behind the scenes. They're like, "Yeah, man, we can't put a curfew on a Beatles," so they just let him go. So you gotta play up the celebrity. You gotta go, hey man, this is Todd Rundgren.
Yeah,
and if they go, it's just Todd Rundgren. You go, Todd Rundgren played with Ringo Starr longer than John Lennon and Paul McCartney. So hey, give him some slack here. But
I didn't know that trivia. That's wild.
Oh yeah, no, he was between the two stints in Ringo. He played with them longer than any of the Beatles. So if that comes up on Jeopardy, folks, and somebody gets it, please just throw me $100 or something, or a gift, or a box set. I still want that. I still need that Nas box set that I haven't pulled the trigger on yet. So a few people have asked in terms of, I think we've discussed it, but I'll double check on like late arrivals in terms of I think you were going to be sending out an email or something to that effect as far as what was going on with the late arrivals.
Yeah, we do surveys and answer questions and stuff. And that's going to go out. So yes, we are going to have a couple late arrivals, and that, in fact, I think tomorrow or the next day they'll get all the information of where to go for late check-in and yeah, and what to do, where to go, what to do. We've got you. That's because of the surveys. They're great. We know when everybody's landing too. Their
Oh, nice.
their flight when they land. So we can kind of figure out who's coming when, and we have made arrangements. Um, some people, I had some questions too, like a question: is there parking? Nope. Everybody has to walk from the airport. It's gonna take you about 5 hours to walk. Yes, plenty of parking. And the weird thing is though that the place we're playing, I had some people say, stop saying the name because we have some people that say they're gonna crash. Anyway, the place where we are going isn't like Nottoway or some of the other places we've gone. There are, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres of beautiful, beautiful land. So there aren't a lot of light posts. So if everybody could bring a small flashlight or a headlamp, that would be great.
Yeah.
This Kauai is definitely a no high heels county. Like where you're going, unless you're going to go to a fancy hotel, there, do not wear high heels. They'll just go right into the grass. We have very few sidewalks anywhere. So
what type of footwear is recommended? Do people wear I assume sandals or stuff?
Yeah, we call them slippers.
Slippers.
SLIPPAHS. Yeah, slippers. Which when I grew up, there were thongs. Yeah, slippers are good. Tennis shoes. Some people wear hiking boots around, but yeah, it's definitely it's a bummer. All of my high heels got all moldy and stuff, so which is good, saved my ankles from breaking more times.
So I assume you don't recommend bare feet. Is there an issue in terms of bare feet or
no? Actually, bare feet's fine.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird, you don't think about things like footwear, but it's so important.
Yeah, it is. Although if you go barefoot, please have some slippers, some thongs, because you've got, tenderfoot. You got mainland feet. So there is some little gravel here and there and spaces. So like at our house. But at our house, you're gonna
You got it. Yeah, well, you can't wear shoes in your house, right?
Yeah, then you're good. And at house, right. Yeah, every house on Kauai, you take your shoes off before you come in. So make sure you know what your shoes look like after you've had a couple of libations, and don't put on somebody else's. That's happened at a lot of parties.
Oh, that's pretty funny. Yeah. Yeah, my son Tom and I, we have, and my son Trevor as well, we all have those shoes from Fast Time at Ridgemont High, those Vans with the checkers on them that he hit his head with when he got stoned. So
yeah.
Mine are the dirtiest. That's how I always recognize them. But all right, let's see. We have follow-up question on the ukulele. See, I'm a good listener. I remember from last time the ukulele. In terms of bringing one, and if there was any more information about ones that you were either going to distribute or borrow or any of those kind of things.
I know it's impossible to borrow that many or distribute ukuleles. So on the next tomorrow, I'm working on exactly what time those lessons will be and where you can get an ukulele. You can definitely bring your own. Yeah. You just put it right up above your seat with your carry-on.
Yeah, they're small. Yeah. I mean, it's not like a guitar, so.
Yeah. And my friend Wailana will be doing the ukulele lessons. She's a Hawaiian lady that does shows around the island. She actually worked for me as a server for a long time. Really great. And then she just started getting booked into showbiz too much.
Wow. Who was that guy? There was that one guy. His first name was Jackie Shimburo or something. He was a big ukulele fan.
Oh,
Or
Jake Shimabukuro.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Jake Shimabukuro. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's amazing.
Yeah, he was he to me he's like the Eddie Van Halen of ukulele, I guess. I mean, he's the one you always think of when you hear the instrument.
Exactly.
So they're asking about the final schedule. I assume we're just working out the final details on that. Somebody asked if they could bring their own alcohol. I would imagine with licensing that might be an issue, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately, you can bring your own alcohol to my house, but why would you? And then, but where we're gathering each night, but away from my house on the next nights, you cannot bring alcohol there because it's my liquor license that's on the line.
Yeah.
So I'm Tiki and Niki is the licensee of catering and alcohol for this. I mean, if you have a gift, I think that's fine. If you have a gift, you can bring a gift.
Yeah, I mean, having been a bartender and for a long time, and I can't emphasize enough, everyone out there, don't mess with somebody else's license, because liquor licenses are gold, and you just don't want to put someone that you care about in a position to have any kind. I mean, the fines are ridiculous. The potential of losing it is very stressful. So even if you think it's cute to bring your little airplane bottle and spike your Coke or whatever, just please don't. That's all. That's the words of wisdom.
We'll have plenty of alcohol.
Yeah, plenty of alcohol. No,
like I said, if somebody has a gift they're going to bring, that's different.
Yeah.
So, and I will say that I know for sure that the liquor department, a couple of the guys are going to be there on like Todd's birthday and when Todd plays, because they're huge fans.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So let's see. What was it? Oh, somebody said that they have had their own hard copies of some tablature for the ukulele workshop. And if they could bring them, I assume that that's fine. That's Aaron Doyle. I don't mention a lot of names on the podcast, but thank you, Aaron, for that.
Hey, Aaron. Yeah, bring them over if they're. We'll make some copies if you want.
Still asking about a virtual event for those people like me who are not going to be there.
And unfortunately, it's looking like we're not going to be able to stream. I was really, really hoping we could. So we're going to ask the fans to go ahead and share when they can. We'll see how the bandwidth goes.
Yeah, I know a lot of times if you have a bunch of cell phones going at once, that will negatively impact the ability to stream. So I don't know, maybe if when people get together, they can coordinate, say X amount of people are going to stream some portions of it or whatever, but we'll definitely have a check-in during the event. I've got some friends of mine who are going to be there that have promised that at least a phone call so we can hear all the scoop while you guys are having all your fun.
Oh, good.
And let's see what else we got here. Oh, somebody asked if you wanted them to bring anything from the Bay Area, because I know you used to live there.
Let's see. No, I can get Dungeness crab out here. That's all I really, and sourdough bread. So, but thank you. If I think of something, I'll say it.
And there's some gifts I think that are being presented as well. We had a couple of questions about that in terms of, is there going to be a specific time where, I believe it's like a birthday gift and probably an anniversary gift and things like that. Is that going to be part of the program either on Todd's birthday or the night of the concert?
We'll definitely, probably on Todd's birthday, we'll definitely have a time when you can gift. So I know it's late in the game. I'm so bad. I'm so sorry I didn't say this until now, but I'm hoping nobody gives him t-shirts or socks. We have thousands and they've all come from fans. They've all come from you, which is great, but my house cannot hold another t-shirt or pair of socks. And Todd is a large, not an XL.
Isn't there like an origin of the reason he started to get, didn't he say something about wanting socks at some point?
Yeah, on the road, because he has to. It's hard to wash socks when you're on the road, because in
Ah,
your hotel room they're never dry, but the next morning you gotta go. So that was great on the road, but now I have 5 million of them.
no more socks. Wow, let's see. We're almost to the end of all this. Oh, one last question. This was.
Oh, and
Oh, go ahead.
okay. No, I was going to say I have had a question, and that I'll try to reiterate again. Instead of buying a long piece of fabric to drape around the stage, it's called a stage skirt to hide, the pylons underneath. We asked fans, if they can't attend, if they want to go ahead and make something for the stage, and we would put their little art on this as a skirt. And I'm sorry, it's really got to be fabric. It can't be like a picture, or somebody asked about paper. It's too moist on Kauai, and the paper will fall apart. So the measurements of how to make something, and you don't have to put Velcro on. We'll do that. Don't think you're going to help us, because we have massive strip of Velcro that would go on all these. And if we have too many, we'll try to switch them back and forth so everybody gets seen, and we'll video those and post them. It has to be 12 inches wide and 24 inches long, because that's just the measurements. Now, if you think you need more space than that, then you'd have to contact the TS. But that's how we wanted to do: 12 inches wide, 24 inches long.
So now with those,
So
since you're sending out the address to the registered attendees, how are those going to be collected? I mean, is there maybe we can see if we can coordinate with some fans that are planning on attending to reach out to their friends. Like I got my friend Susie's coming over tomorrow. I won't have everything ready by then, but I know that, like, my friend Lynn, of course, is in the area. I could always get something to her. So maybe from a coordination aspect, if we could ask fans to gather those up so we don't have to have one large repository, and maybe they could bring them for those that can attend. How's that sound?
yeah, actually, if you contact someone who's going, they have the address of the venue. We're trying to stop saying the name of the venue because of rumors of gate crashers. So contact someone that's going, and they'll give you the address where to send that.
Okay, awesome. But yeah, I mean, we'll figure it out. As I said, we can all work together and make sure that we get them to you. And then someone asked me about, we'd mentioned on the last podcast about you said the continental breakfast, and we realized it was an island breakfast. And I think it was my friend Julie was asking about dietary restrictions. So maybe, I don't know, have you decided what's on those island breakfasts? I think you mentioned the last time it was mostly fruits and things along those lines.
Yeah, it's just something you could, fruits and granolas and things that we'll have, like croissants and breads that you can make a sandwich for later, and cold cuts, coffee, tea, coconut water. So pretty light, but enough that, and yes, we realize we're taking care of vegetarians too. So we'll have, like, what is it? Now I can't remember, like silken or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, it's
so
like
we
almond milk, I think, is what it is. The
almond
silk,
milk,
yeah.
coconut milk, yeah.
Yeah.
And we have sent, we've sent information to every single person that's coming to tell us what their dietary restrictions are, and we're trying to accommodate every single person.
Awesome. Well,
including those who have trouble walking, and we're going to try to help you out. It might be difficult. We're trying to get a golf cart, and maybe Holly Mae will drive you out all over the place again.
Yeah, to me, that's my dream job. It's just being the guy riding around in the golf cart. And I just golfed with my son yesterday, and as I was hitting the ball, I realized, the most enjoyable part of this experience is just riding around in the golf cart. It's just so much fun. All right. Well, we covered a lot of ground today, and so we're coming up on it pretty quick. So We'll probably have time for maybe one more of these episodes, and we'll do that in a couple of weeks, which would be the last one before the event. But, people got to be getting excited. And I do want to say from the bottom of my heart, first, thank you for doing these, because I just really, really, really enjoy them a lot. And we get a lot of listeners. We actually ranked in Australia, by the way, for podcasts, and because I know Todd, I know, isn't that interesting? And everybody that's reached out and said that they've enjoyed these podcasts, it really means a lot to me. And it's the other day I went to a restaurant and I had a great experience. And I called the manager up and I said, you know what, I had a great experience, and part of that was because of the people that had reached out to me to say they enjoyed the podcast. And I realized, it doesn't take a lot to do that. And we get so accustomed to just being the complainers and saying, oh, my eggs weren't cooked right or whatever, that it's really nice when people take the time to just reach out and say, hey, I really love what you're doing. And I never get sick of hearing it. Yeah. It always warms my heart just as much as I'm sure you never do either.
Yeah. And also I want to thank you for coming up with this idea. I hadn't thought of it. And I thought when you approached me, that's brilliant. It's really cool. It's really great. It also keeps my brain focused on like, oh yeah, I gotta call XYZ about a golf cart. Oh yeah, I gotta do this, and this.
Yeah, and it was very organic. I mean, this wasn't something that we had plotted. It just sort of came about. And for those that, if they're interested in the story, I mean, I'd reached out to you a year ago to be on another podcast that I host, and then the timing was such where I was like, hey, why don't we just do something about Toddstock, because nobody else is doing it, and hey, here we are. Ta-da! All right. Well, I'll ask I don't know, one final question, then I'll let you go. And thanks again for a great episode. The Intoxicats. I don't think I've ever heard the story of how you wound up hooking up with those guys, because they're in a different part of the country and everything like that. And so how did you wind up becoming intoxicated, catted?
Well, I love the story, actually. I was hosting at Tiki and Iki, and two people came up to the door dressed in total vintage tiki. And I turned around to my staff. I said, somebody watch the door. I'm getting drunk with these people. Oh, and I said to them, like, who are you? No, or what did I say? No, I said, I need to know who you are. And almost like they'd rehearsed it at the same time, they both like put their hand on their hip and lean back. Yes, you do. So I spent many hours at the bar with them. They do live in Minneapolis and had purchased a house in Princeville where Tiki and Iki is. Rick, the husband, wrote tons and tons of jingles for every company in the Minneapolis area, but Target. So if you ever like those past Target ads, and because that's Target money and really good department store monies all over, he could hire the best musicians in Minneapolis. Well, geez, who are those people? The people who play for famous people. So we just bonded over love of tiki music, love of tiki. A couple of months go by, and he is hanging out with a bunch of friends after Prince died. It wasn't the big memorial thing, but they were just a bunch of people hanging out and somebody just said, geez, what do we do now? And Rick said, hey, Todd Rundgren's wife wants to do a tiki band. And they're all like, yeah, I'm in. And suddenly we've got, the Hornheads from Prince as our horn section. And Brian Sitzer's drummer, Noah Levy, and Noah Levy's bass player's son, who's a phenom, and just amazing musicians. So they're so great that I sometimes just turn around and listen. Well, I could be singing, but I just turn around and watch the Hornheads. We won't have the Hornheads with us at Toddstock, but we will have their tracks. They're so good. They got scooped up by an artist named Corey Wong that's on a stadium tour of like Europe and America.
Wow. So
they're so you'll get to hear them, just won't get to see their cute faces. Yeah, but it's fun. Yeah, we have so much fun. And
yeah, it's a great story. Again, it kind of goes back to this podcast. It just sort of happened, just two people exchanging emails and then bang, it happens. But what's also fascinating is the Prince connection, because you had met Prince, Prince's debut on
Yeah.
Saturday Night Live happened on the same night that Todd performed, and now you live in a town called Princeville. I mean, it's fascinating. This is almost like those JFK and Abraham Lincoln connections, you know. So, well, very good.
And I think one of the cutest things was, I mean, when Todd heard Intoxicats, he was, and he's so picky. He was like, wow. And I said, oh, I'm glad you like it, because we'd like you to do the guitar solo on Velvet Gorilla. And he was really nervous about it. And I said, what's the big deal about this? It's okay. It's okay. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. And he goes, no, I want to do it. It's just, I want to do something. I want to do it really good. And that he doesn't usually get that, that demonstrative or hesitate about anything. So he did the guitar solo on Velvet Gorilla in a hotel room while we were on the road.
Wow, that is so cool. Yeah, that's great.
And he was nervous doing it. I thought it was so cute.
Well, I mean, if you got pride in your work, you always gotta have a little nervous jitters. I mean, as you said, I mean, he's worked with a lot of different people, but it's still neat to hear that he gets those moments just like all the rest of us. We're like, oh man, can I do this? But he hasn't let us down yet. So.
Yep, he's still out there swinging. I'm impressed.
Yeah. Well,
75.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're not getting any younger, but all right. Well, thank you very much as always, Michele. We will. I said we'll reconvene in a couple of weeks, so everybody keep the questions coming. Just to recap, the address will be coming to all the registered attendees, so no worries out there. And both of us thank you for kind of alerting us to that, so that there was no potential mishaps in terms of getting that information out. And folks, you guys that are going, I'm jealous, but I am so happy for you. I said my good friend Susie, who I haven't seen in a little bit, who really turned me on to Todd Rundgren, is going to be here tomorrow. So I'm going to give her a big old hug, and she's going to take that hug and pass it on to all you guys at Toddstock. So you'll get a secondary hug. I'll make sure she gives you one too, Michele, for me. So, all right. Well,
thanks, Tom.
Very good.